What's poppin' YouTube? My name is Walter, and welcome to Frequently Asked Furry Questions, the YouTube channel where I'm going to attempt to educate people and maybe dismiss some rumors about the furry fandom. I'm going to hopefully leave you with some content that you can both show to your parents who might have questions, or like your neighbor who shows you some questions, as well as helping those who are new in the fandom learn a bit more about the fandom itself. So this first episode is just going to be kind of some addressing general things that I've heard about the fandom, being in it as long as I have. I've been in the fandom for about 7 years now, give or take some of that. My math is a little awful. So let's just get down to it. So the first thing that we should probably address is, well, what's a furry? Like, what is the actual definition of a furry? And the true, flat definition of a furry is anyone with an interest in anthropomorphic animals. So that would be animals that walk on two legs and usually talk, like Robin Hood from Robin Hood, or like the characters from Zootopia, or any movie that portrays animals acting in the way that people act. So that's like the base definition of what a furry is. Now, to go a bit further in depth with that, a furry is usually a person that is, that along with being a fan of anthropomorphic animals, typically will have their own fursuits, their own OCs, as some people prefer to call them, that are anthropomorphic animals themselves. For instance, me. Hi. I'm Walter. I am someone's fursona, or OC. So that's like the basic definition. So the first question that I want to get to is one that's going to be a little upfront about how things really are. So one thing I've often always heard being in the fandom, or been asked in the fandom, is it a sex thing? Or just people flat out saying that the furry fandom is all like sexual deviance and stuff? Well, to be perfectly upfront with that, I'll answer you this and then I'll go a bit more in depth. Some furries are adults, and adults do indeed do the sex. It's just kind of how things work. It's how people are made. Now, the question of it is, is furry sexual? Well, not entirely, but as with everything that exists on the internet, yes, there is a sexual side for some in the fandom. Now, that percentage of people that have it as like a sexual thing is a little hard to calculate, because obviously you've got people that enjoy the lewd side of things for specifically art purposes, or those who are into it for other reasons that I'm sure you don't need me to tell you. I did, however, do a bit of research before I decided to start making this video, and all the videos that I make, in the future will definitely have the same amount of work put into them, hopefully. So in doing the research that I did, I found a poll from 2016, so it's older, it's about 5 years old at this point. The numbers the percentages may be a few points higher or a few points lower, but I really don't think that it has shifted that much. In this poll, they asked furries what percentage that made sex very important, or sexual themes was very important as part of the fandom for these individuals. Only 11% of the fandom said yes, that it was an important thing, or that it even mattered at all. Which, knowing that there are lots of furries that are all over the world, in every country, every walk of life imaginable, that's that's a fairly small percentage for how many furries there are just in the whole world. So the next thing with that one is kind of related to the second one, and that's something I hear all the time, is that fursuits are sexual. and that furries tend to have sex in fursuits. Well, again, some furries are adults, and adults do have sex, so that's not untrue, you know. And some people do indeed do the do in their fursuits. Again, neither the lewd side of the fandom nor that are my thing personally. Like, I don't do anything lewd wearing myself here. Um, but the thing about that is there's only about 15 to 25% of the fandom that even own fursuits. So again, with as many furs as there are in the world, that's still a rather small number, and even less of that percentage would even think about doing anything lewd in their suits. Because these suits, number one, I'm only wearing paws and a head right now. I don't own like a bodysuit yet. But this motherfucker's hot. Like, I am sweating like crazy wearing just this head and these paws. And I'm even doing what is known as poodling, which is having skin exposed while you wear your fursuit. So, like, you could imagine what it would be like to do something that already gets hot and sweaty and something that makes you get hotter and sweatier. Now, another thing about fursuits is, and I'm going to do a follow-up video that answers a lot of questions about fursuits specifically, so I won't touch on this for too much longer. The thing about fursuits is that they're expensive. Some can cost thousands of dollars, or even here recently, tens of thousands of dollars. For instance, just a head for a protogen, which I will have here, just a head of a protogen sold on a website called The Dealer's Den, which is like almost like eBay or like a bidding site for furry art, sold for $15,000. And you want to tell me that you think somebody is likely to do anything adult in that? Then you'd be crazy. So, just to reiterate, so yes, there are people that do have sex in fursuit, and I mean, who cares really what goes on behind, closed doors between consenting adults. But even the ones that I have met that do have sex in fursuit, because I think it's personally silly to like demonize what are known as mersuiters. They keep their suits very clean because you gotta keep things sterile and keep things clean from partner to partner. So do people have sex in fursuit? Yes. Is it a majority of the fandom? Absolutely not. Like, it is a very small percentage. Unfortunately, I couldn't find a proper percentage, I guess, on people that do have admitted to having sex in fursuit. If I can find one, though, it'll be here. So the next thing I often hear about furries is that we think that we're animals. Well, that's just simply not true. Like, we know that we are people. Like, I have flesh, it's a skin right here. The people that you're thinking of when you think people that think they're animals are actually known as Therians. Now, I don't understand too much about it. I'm not one personally. Like, I don't have any much of an interest in it. Not that I'm judging those who do. And I'm sure that somebody in the comments, or if you ask, if you go around asking, Therians can probably explain. I can obviously explain what they are better than, what I can explain. The last thing I get asked about is who can and who can't be a furry. Well, that's simple. Anybody can be a furry. Any age, any sexuality, anybody can be a furry. Any age, any sexuality, anything really. The only people that we don't allow, believe it or not, despite what the media will tell you, is we are very quick to oust those who seek to make us look bad, or claim to be furries but then do stuff, to make us look like the media has painted us for so long. We're very quick to oust anybody that is, found out to be a zoophile or, into bestiality, which you can Google the definitions of those things if you want, but I'm sure you could figure out what those mean. Or anybody that is, anything otherwise, a non-desirable person. We're very quick to get those out of the fandom because at the end of the day, we as furries, we just kind of, want to vibe. We want to enjoy life just like anybody else does. And, we enjoy the fandom for all of its ups and all of its downs. So yeah, I hope that this video has maybe answered any questions and possibly enlightened you, if you're not a furry, on how things can be and how things truly are. And if you're a furry that's new to the fandom, maybe you're like trying to explain it to your parents that this is what this is, and it's not inherently bad or good. It's, what you make of it. So please, if you enjoyed this video, give that thumbs up, subscribe, comment down below. And the next video should hopefully be, as long as everything goes well, a more in-depth video on fursuits, fursuiting, and anything in regards to that side of the fandom. So yeah, well again, my name is Walter. Welcome to Frequently Asked Furry Questions, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye!